did a pretty successful first snowfall event of 2022. Let's take a look at some of your comments that are coming in right now, and then we'll show you the map of preliminary snowfall totals. Jason said that he doesn't have any snow to report, Scotty, in Burke County and Morganton. And Krista tells us in Chapman, South Carolina, she didn't have snow, but she had those gusty winds of 40 miles an hour. And I feel like that's kind of the other headline that a lot of people saw overnight. If you didn't get the snow, then you got a lot of the wind. As we take a look at the reports that came in during the overnight hours, you can kind of tell this is a storm with a couple of different stories to it. So those purple numbers up along the Blue Ridge, but also down into the Triad and coming maybe soon to portions of the Triangle. Those are the snow reports that are preliminarily reported to the National Weather Service. So we have 2.5 inches here as you make your way out towards Canton and western North Carolina, but also those wind reports, right? So MPING users reporting down trees, power lines, limbs, those sorts of things, as the wind was certainly gusting, trees uprooted in Skyland outside of Asheville. As we make our way into the higher elevations here, we got 2 inches outside of Spruce Pine, making our way into Blowing Rock. Wow, we got one report closer to downtown of 1 inch, but as you make your way higher up along that elevation along the Blue Ridge Parkway, 6.5 inches here in portions of Watauga County. Up in Boone, where you guys are too, you know, the terrain makes a big difference, and also the time that these measurements were taken. So 7.5 inches in Lowville, and then, you know, up in Boone, another about 4.5 inches here, and as you make your way out of town, 7 inches. Now, is that what you guys are seeing? Did you really see about 7 inches of snow in Boone?
I would say right now,
I would say there are spots that got 7 inches, and I think something that plays a big role in that is who is measuring and where they're measuring it.
Right.
The wind had the wind had a big role in that, with blowing snow drifts and things like that. So the location of where somebody measured it may be a little bit different. I think on average, you could say 5 inches, 5 to 6 is more, probably a little more conservative and realistic. But there's no doubt that some locations got 7 inches.
There's a picture Evan took of ourselves here at the stadium, and there's a snowdrift that came up to my knees and mid thigh for our mid shin to Dylan. He's a little bit taller than I am, but he's got a good little snow mark over here on his jeans. So that's pretty impressive snowdrift, but it's a lot of wind up here too. So I know the wind really played into that.
Yeah, let's talk a little bit more about those winds, because even here in Charlotte, where I was woken up multiple times throughout the night because of gusty winds that were power enough to bring down small tree limbs, blowing some shingles down, making our way into Union County, North Carolina, multiple trees down on Lawyers Road and Unionville Indian Trail Road. We even had a COVID testing site operated by StarMed here in the Charlotte area, had their outdoor tents at their drive-through location damaged, and so that location is closed today, along with the StarMed locations in the higher elevations to the west. You can see in upstate South Carolina, as I scroll back up, trees uprooted here near Duncan overnight, and even the outline of what was once a flood warning for that upstate corridor of Greenville, Spartanburg along I-85. Where we had more snow to tell you about is where we saw those live pictures coming in earlier from Wake Forest University. And, an inch to half an inch, that is going to quickly melt off here as we go on through the day, but still kind of sticking in some places in that Triad, with winds magnitude 51 miles an hour observed during the overnight hours. Very, very windy indeed. Reedsville coming in with multiple trees down, strong winds. Several people on social media reporting that to the National Weather Service. And it's always helpful when the National Weather Service can hear from you, but also multiple people sending in the same report helps them kind of verify what it is they might be looking at. Take a look at all of these polygons across the triangle. We'll wait to see if we get any snow reports. Right now, the furthest to the east is this one outside of Hillsboro, very wet, accumulating just a little bit here on the road, this one at about the noon hour. But the other story, of course, for Raleigh, in addition to the overnight severe thunderstorms with gusty winds that brought down trees in some areas with a flooding. So you can see we had reports of flash flooding in Wake Forest, North Carolina here near Raleigh, with portions of this roadway, Highway 1, covered with water, and also the same thing here in Chapel Hill, Old Mansion Farm Road, impassable due to flash flooding. And that was kind of the other side of the storm, as we were looking at 3.5 inches of rain totaled up by 10:30 this morning associated with this storm that, again, produced snow, produced gusty winds, produced flash flooding, and overnight is responsible for one tornado warning in South Carolina, Bamberg and Orangeburg counties. We were on the air with you at about 3 a.m. watching for this tornado warning. We don't have any confirmation that a tornado itself was on the ground, but we do have storm reports that collaborate some damaging wind in the Orangeburg area. Highway Patrol reporting multiple trees down in Orangeburg County as this storm rolled on through. We did have that tornado watch that more or less was up last night for the southern portions of South Carolina, down here towards Beaufort and Hilton Head, where you can see a tree fell on a mobile home and displaced the occupants. So some folks really did get kind of the bad side of this storm. And then that tornado watch was extended from Myrtle Beach, Wilmington, Atlantic Beach, all throughout the Outer Banks, just expiring just shy of 12 noon today as the storm system really began to move on out, at least the strong part of it that was responsible for the warm, severe weather on the first side of it. And now we're still dealing with kind of the backside of this. But Dylan and Scotty, I mean, just take a look at all of this activity that was observed in the last 24 hours. It was a very, very impressive storm. And I see you guys are on the move now here as you are taking a